One
1 second. Now I'm lowering the volume. Okay, shalom everyone. How did the snowstorm affect you guys?
Texas is not too bad. Texas fared pretty well.
Good,
We
good.
got about 2 feet, but we're okay.
As
Yeah,
long
good
as
thing you didn't make it to
you're
Oklahoma.
eating pizza, you're good.
What did you say, Eric? How's Oklahoma?
Oh, I said, good thing you didn't make it to Oklahoma. It was we got quite a snowstorm here.
Mm.
Well, Susan says they got 2 feet. So I said, as long as you have AG and pizza, there's a nice place there near her house. They have, as long as you're locked in the house with the G and pizza, so what?
Yeah, no way to get it, but we didn't lose power, so that was
Praise
really
God.
the big
It was
issue.
a blessing.
Yeah.
Because of the war, I decided to postpone my trip. And then immediately after I postponed the trip, there was this big deal with the snowstorm. But the weather is good now in Texas, right? Who's going to answer me? I'm talking to myself. Lori, the weather is good in Texas.
Well, my daughter. Oh, are you there, Lori?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's good in Texas, but we're all fine.
Okay, good.
We have
Good. So
ice.
I imagine I should just stay here in Israel for a while.
It's we have probably about 3 inches of packed sleet is what we have is that's just a guess.
So
Covering everything.
all you need is skis and you're okay.
Lots of people are using snowboards and ice skates and things on their neighborhood streets.
When does it go back up to 80 degrees?
Yeah, I don't think we have 80 in the forecast anytime soon, but we're supposed to get above freezing today, so
Okay, so I suppose God gave me the right direction to stay home.
mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, so we'll stop fooling around and I'll get down to the news, which I'm sure will interest you. There is a very, very sweet Ethiopian lady. Her name is Betty. And I mean, we've been friends for many years now. And so she's messianic. So what? I don't care if she's messianic. I love messianics. Anyway, she could not join the Bible Bloc Party because at that time she was a captain in the Israeli army, and because she was an officer, she couldn't join any political parties. I mean, I understood it. I wasn't offended. Then about 2 months ago, she calls me and she says she wants to get into the Likud Knesset candidate list. And she asked me if I could take her to Pastor Jan Willem van der Hoven. So I imagine some of you know who he is. So anyways, I took her to Jan Willem's house. We spent an hour, 2 hours chatting. And of course, he's a Christian. She's a Messianic. And I'm just sitting there, listening to how they're talking. And but I said to her on the drive to Jan Willem's house, they're going to run you out of town in the Likud. They're not going to have you at all. They don't want any Christians or any Messianics. Then, she promised to be in touch. Yesterday on the news, it turns out she switched to another party called the Army Reservists Party. Anyone who was an officer and is a reservist can be a member of the party and run for the Knesset. So she got nominated to be on the list. And so actually, she should be congratulated because I didn't know if there were any other Christians or Messianics around. Anyway, so Channel 14, which is the nationalist and religious channel, came out with a virulent attack on her and on the party leader, Boaz Hendel, and because they called her a missionary. Now, by the way, you have to know that in Israeli terminology, anyone who's a Christian believer or Messianic is a missionary. So they attacked her, and I'm listening and listening and listening. And Yoaz Hendel came out and said that, listen, she was an officer, she served the country. We don't get involved in religious belief. Anyone who served in the Israeli army can be a member of the reservists. And so now they're really like 15 minutes attacking her, attacking her, attacking her. Like, how dare they bring a missionary into their list? Um, but I have to tell you something. I know from my experience that there are many, many messianics in the Israeli army, many Christians, and I don't understand why Muslims can run for the Knesset and Christians can't. Anyway, so I congratulate her for getting in. I don't know, has anyone in this group heard about this lady?
No.
Probably not. So, so I know one thing. I mean, I'm not hurt that she didn't go with my party. Um, Indeed, it might even be she has better chances if she goes with the reservist party. I just have to see how many votes the reservist party gets and what number is she on the candidate list for that party. So I'll be checking that out pretty soon. But I will say one thing, there are a lot of Christian believers and a lot of messianics who are not reservists. And so they cannot join that party. They might be able to vote for it. So I still think that, I was thinking of just shutting down my party because if she got into some other party, but we still have to see, will she get in? I have a very, very good friend, an Arab Christian, who's a lieutenant colonel in the reserves, and a very good friend of mine. And we're dabbling in politics, and I'm trying to get him to join my party. He claims he has 11,000 votes. I don't need 11,000 votes. I need 150,000 votes. So anyway, so the breaking news starting this program today is that Betty Tegegen has been accepted as a candidate for the Knesset. Again, I don't know what number she is on the list, but I think that Yoaz Hendel will get a lot of votes from army people who are, looking to change political affiliations from the Likud. I would say mostly from the right wing to this party, to Yoaz Hendel. I don't know. I'm still in the running, and I already sent a message to my lawyer. I had like a $30,000 debt to the lawyer's group that he works with, and they finally accepted to bring it down to half, to $15,000, which I paid, so I don't owe them anything. And I said, you guys are messianic. Why don't you just work pro bono for my party? So they're considering it, and I will let you know probably next week what their decision is. But like I said before, there are a lot of people, including 1 million immigrants, or excuse me, 10 million immigrants from the United States if they come, 6 million Jews and 4 million Christians and a whole bunch of messianics interspersed. None of them are officers in the Israeli army reserves. So I think there still is a very, very important need for my party, and so I'm here. There is talk of collapsing of Netanyahu's government because the ultra-Orthodox, it seems, maybe stabbing the Likud in the back. That's how politics is. And if the Likud has a no confidence vote and it falls, so elections could be this April, which means I don't travel because I'll have to be here campaigning. So there are three possible dates: April, June, or September, October. So we'll just have to wait and see when the elections will be. I have not purchased a ticket yet. I will only purchase a ticket when I know that there are no elections, there's no war. I can go, I can work for a month, 6 weeks, and come back. But I've lost a week already. I've lost a week. And, every week is worth like $5,000. I was hoping this week to come back with $40,000 from the United States so that I could do really good campaigning and getting a lot of thousands, tens of thousands of people to sign up for the party and to vote. At this stage, I'm still penniless, and everything I'm doing by faith. But I'm convinced that things will work out. We'll just have to see, am I traveling or not? So that's regarding the elections. That's regarding the political situation here. The ultra-Orthodox are playing tiddlywinks with Netanyahu, and Netanyahu doesn't like it. But that's what we know about the ultra-Orthodox. They want to bring the government down, and it seems they have a deal with the socialists to bring Netanyahu down. So I don't know where it all stands. All I know is I'm working on my daily things, calling people from the party, meeting with people from the party, going to the lawyer, renewing contact with them. I mean, the party exists, so the party we don't have to go through all the rigmarole of registering a party. The party's there, and put put together again a list, let's say, of 8 members of Knesset. Don't forget, 150,000 votes is for somewhere between 3 and 4 members of Knesset. So to get 8 people in, I need 300,000 votes, which of course, if I have no budget for publicity in the radio, TV, and newspapers, it's not going to be easy. And don't forget the Channel 14, which is the channel I like, they're virulently anti-Christian. So the moment I get onto TV, they're going to attack me, even though I'm a right-wing Likud guy, Likud type guy. 11, 12, 13, they won't like me either because I'm right-wing and believe in, the Bible prophecy from the Nile to the Euphrates. So I'm kind of like a maverick. Nobody really is going to like a maverick. But I'm going to keep going at it. And as I said before, I'm waiting for the big aliyah to come, because until then it's small groups of messianics who are English speakers. That's where I'm strongest. Messianics who are Russian speakers who don't want to get involved in politics. Arab Christians who have their own agenda. The Ethiopians, it seems that this lady Betty, who I was hoping would work to bring me a few tens of thousands of votes, will probably be bringing those votes to Yoaz Hendel. So listen, you believe in God, you love God, you love the Jews and the Christians. Even the Druze are going to be on my list. And so we go as fast as we can and as far as we can with no budget. And then hopefully God will work miracles, because once I get onto a few TV shows, TV interviews, I think that there's a very big percentage of Israel's population today that is fed up with the ultra-Orthodox, fed up with the socialists. Netanyahu doesn't want the Christians or Messianics because the rabbis will torpedo him, which they're going to do anyway. So I'm in the middle of a stormy sea in a little dinghy here. I'm in a dinghy, and but God is protecting me and my family, and we're going to continue until the elections. The question is, will the elections be April, June, or September, October? So we shall see about that. As you all probably know, we are still waiting for President Trump to make his decision about attacking Iran or not. And everyone here in the news says, well, everything is in Trump's head. Trump is the only one who knows what he's going to do. So, we're waiting to see what happens with Iran. And we're here. And whatever happens, happens. Did you all hear that Ron Gvili, they found his body? He was the last of the hostages. They found him and they brought him home to Israel yesterday. So there are no more hostages, in case anyone wants to know. So we're happy about that. And the left, the socialists, are up to their usual shenanigans, but I think it's all going to backfire on them. My only sad feeling about the leftists is that the leftists potentially are the ones who might want to support my party, because if the Likud and the ultra-Orthodox hate the Christians and Messianics, the leftists might be liberal enough to accept my idea. And I'm not here to subvert Netanyahu. I'm just saying there should be Christians, there should be Messianics in the Knesset. There should be some kind of representation and not say, well, Muslims are okay, but Christians are not. That shows a very mentally retarded, old-fashioned, antiquated thinking whose time is past. So I'm just continuing as God wishes, I feel, and basically that's about it. We're waiting to finish off Hamas. We're waiting to finish off Hezbollah, but everything is on the ice now until Iran is taken care of. So we're all waiting for Trump and Netanyahu to make a decision about Iran, and we'll see where it all goes. Some people are saying that, like my wife, for example, she says that Israel should just go ahead and attack Iran and not wait for America to do everything. Because if we attack Iran, that will really bring about a revolution in Iran against the fanatic Ayatollah. So we're all here. I mean, I should be in the States now, but I suppose it's fair to say that I'm happy that I'm here where all the action is. And so we shall see. I'm open for questions if anybody wants to ask questions. Okay, I see that Lori wrote to me about the operation to retrieve Ron Gvili's remains. Very, very interesting. We looked in many, many places over the last year or two. Our intelligence people interrogated one terrorist who came out and said that he's in one of three places. So they went to all three places, and the last place was a cemetery where 250 terrorists were buried in a common grave. And so a whole lot of army units went in there. They pulled out all the bodies. And the last body, the 250 bodies, the last body was the body of Ron Gvili. And there were 20 dentists with all the x-rays. And they found him. The teeth matched exactly. You know, teeth are like fingerprints. And Ron Gvili was immediately wrapped up and sent back to Israel for burial. The funeral will take place on tomorrow, on Wednesday, and we are all sighing a sigh of relief that the last hostage is back in Israel. And we're waiting to see what happens. But there were 20 dentists. Actually, it was a lady dentist who made the discovery. So, see, women are not all that bad. And haha. And the dentist did their job. Hundreds and hundreds of Israeli soldiers were helping to remove the bodies one by one and prepare them for examination, and then put them back. But we got our body out from there, and that's the story with Ron Gvili. Great hero. He was the first soldier to go into Gaza and the last soldier to be sent home, to come home, even though he's dead, but he's getting a proper funeral in Israel. And it has to be emphasized that when Joseph, our forefather, died, not Joseph, when Jacob died, he made Joseph swear an oath that the body of Jacob would be returned to the land of Israel and buried in the tomb of the patriarchs. And actually, you know, Joseph, when he died, his body was brought back to Nablus, to Shem. So for Jewish people, a proper funeral is of utmost importance. We cannot rest when there are soldiers who are not buried properly. I hope I answered you, dear.
Yes, and I was curious about who all was involved, if it was really, most strictly an IDF effort or if there were other.
No, IDF effort. There's a unit called Alexandroni, They're a very famous unit, and they went in with rabbis, they went in with doctors, they went in with dentists, and they did their job. It was very good. Don't forget also, our soldiers were on highest alert because we were afraid that the Hamas would try to ambush our soldiers who were bringing home Ranvili. So praise God, it came out successful.
Hi, Avi.
Yes, dear.
Hello. Speaking of Hamas, um, I wonder if you could just clarify what's going on in Gaza, because I understand that phase two couldn't be entered into until Hamas had been disarmed. They haven't yet been disarmed, but it's like America's pushing now for phase two. And I was just reading that Hamas are pushing to integrate around 10,000 police officers, their own people, into the US backed administration peacekeeping force in Gaza. Can you just explain what's going on? Or have I got the wrong end of the stick there?
No, no, there are a lot of rumors. It's like in the Bible, it says there are wars and rumors of wars. What we have now with Hamas is they have said publicly, very clearly, that they will never, ever give up their weapons. And no matter what happens, they're going to be there in Gaza and they're going to fight it out to the end. So that's probably what's going to happen.
Right.
From what I understand, however, according to the demand of President Trump and the agreement, the Rafah border crossing will be opened up in both directions, but Israel will
Mm.
be in a position to check on everybody coming in or going out. So it's not going to be a wild scene with no Israeli government protection. So we're going to be very careful not to let in terrorists, and any terrorists trying to leave will be arrested. Only individual Gaza citizens who have permission to leave and a visa, so that they don't stay in Egypt. Egypt doesn't want them. But there are many Gaza residents who have travel permits to Italy or Germany or other countries in Europe. And I think this will be the beginning of the massive transfer of population out of Gaza. So we're watching that too. I'm personally, I'm optimistic.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Avi.
Pleasure. Thank you, Angela. I see Claire is here also from Malta.
Hello.
Hi,
Yes,
sweetie.
I'm
How are
here.
you?
I- I'm okay. I went to Germany and I got flu, and I was just back yesterday, so I'm just resting today. Thank the Lord. It's getting my strength back.
Well, you know, there's a saying: the loss of your job is, I mean, not the loss of your job, the loss of your days of work is our pleasure and our fortune to have you with us. So that's good.
Thank you. Bless you.
It wasn't the German flu, was it?
I think it was the blinking buggers. Yeah, but it did knock me off for so long. I've heard many people that really went down. I kind of went down, but still kept moving and traveling with my daughter. But probably because I didn't get the rest, it's lingering. But yeah, it could have been worse.
You have lemons in the market there in Malta.
Yeah, yeah,
Rachel and I squeeze a lemon every morning, and so she has fresh squeezed lemon juice with seltzer, and I also. So we're getting our vitamins from freshly squeezed lemons.
yeah. I'll need to go and get some first thing tomorrow. Oranges, curcumin, and ginger.
Right,
Yeah.
right, very good. Also, there are other things which help. Well, you don't have it in Malta, but in America, there's something called wellness formula. And there is, I'm having a mind blank now. Um, uh, there are pills that we also have, but I finished them, so I have to get more. But there are pills that you take, for the flu, and they cut back the symptoms. So
Yeah. Well, I'm going to try and buy something like that here.
echinacea,
Echinacea.
and golden seal. Those are two things that are very good for what you have.
Ah, I've got a really good echinacea. I'm going to go and get it when.
Yeah, and also golden seal. That's like a natural antibiotic.
Uh-huh. I need to buy some because that it was awful. Anyway.
If you have a health foods or vitamin shop in Malta, I'm sure they have it.
Yeah, I'll go and have a look soon. Yeah.
My
Thanks,
Canadians
Avi.
were quiet all day. Now they hear me talking to you guys, and now so they're singing all of a sudden. They want to join the show.
I don't blame them.
Lori Bond to everyone. What can be done about the situation in Syria, the poor Kurds? Lori, you remind me of my physics teacher in high school. He used to say, "You are a man of astute perspicacity and innate intellectual ability." So you are not a man, but you're a woman with astute perspicacity and innate intellectual ability. Um, I think I told you that last week I finished finally the book on Turkey and the Armageddon. And part of the Armageddon War, in my opinion, is the Turkish invasion of Syria and the massacres, almost Iranian style, of the population, of the Kurdish population. Uh, we Israelis were just very, very tired. All these battles on all these fronts. And the Kurds want us to come in full blast and destroy the Turks, which is Armageddon. So I don't know yet what's going to come out of all of that, but we're watching carefully.
I mean, what do you think of Donald Trump's peace board?
Crazy.
Can you elaborate?
Very simple. I think President Trump, as a very solid businessman, I don't blame him. I mean, I married Rachel. Until I married Rachel, I was like Trump. Uh, when you have insider information on Islam, you understand that this is a battle of religion between Islam and everybody else, and even Islam against Islam. Because, for example, the Kurds, they're Muslims, and yet they're being massacred by the Turks. And also, the Kurds are a Turkic people. I was interviewed a few times on Azerbaijan TV, and they speak a Turkic language also. They were part of the Soviet Union, and but they hate the Turks because the Turks are Sunnis, and the Turkish Sunnis hate the Turkic Shiites. So listen, Islam is a system that kills the Jews on Saturday, kills the Christians on Sunday, kills the Hindus, the Buddhists, the blacks any day. And then the Shiites and the Sunnis kill each other. And then the Sunnis and the Sunnis kill each other. And the Shiites and the Shiites kill each other. Islam is the perfect depopulation system. And they cannot say that Allah is greater than God until everybody created in the image of God is destroyed. So Satan, Allah, wants to see the destruction of all human beings, including the Muslims, to prove that he is greater than God. And Allahu Akbar means that Allah is greater than God. So it's not a politically correct situation for me. I got a 3-year sentence in jail in Switzerland for saying that Allah is Satan and Islam is a criminal psychosis bent on the total depopulation of the planet Earth. So, the Swiss loved me, but the judges didn't. The judges loved me in jail. So Rachel said to me, "You ain't going to Switzerland no more."
So,
I think England would be the same today.
so to Patrick's question about elaborating, how do you see the way forward? Like, what do you think is going to happen with this Board of Peace?
Well, listen, there are some good guys, like the leader of Hungary, Viktor Orban, the president of Argentina, Javier Milei. There are good people on the Board of Peace, but the problem is the moment you have Islam, it's Itbach Yehud, kill the Jews. And the problem with the Gaza problem, by the way, Gaza will not belong to Israel anymore. Gaza will be taken away from Israel, and Trump will build a wonderful holiday atmosphere there with the Muslims, which is impossible. It's not going to work, because the Muslims hate the Christians too. Muslims hate everybody. I mean, the Gaza Muslims. So I don't know. I don't know where it's all going, but at this stage, we got all our hostages back, and we have to thank President Trump for being instrumental in that. And now, even President Trump said that Hamas has to be disarmed, and Hamas says they're not going to be disarmed. So the only ones who can do anything about it are the Israeli soldiers. So now we're waiting to see what will happen there. And meanwhile, we have to finish with Iran first. On the Israeli TV, they were saying that probably something will happen with Iran in the next few days. I don't know. Nobody knows.
Avi, have you heard anything about Erdogan preparing for the fall of the Iranian regime by building or establishing a buffer zone on the border with Iran to prevent immigration coming from Iran if it falls?
Could you repeat that again?
Have you heard anything about Erdogan preparing in case the Iranian regime falls by considering establishing a buffer zone or establishing a buffer zone on the border with Iran to prevent immigration from there coming his way?
Well, you have to remember that Erdogan is Sunni. Iran is Shiite.
Mm,
And I already said that
yeah.
the Turks hate the Iranians because of religion. And Turkey I believe, will behave with the Iranian people like Egypt behaves with Gaza. They don't want any of these people. So I don't know what's going to happen. Turkey is a really, really wild card in the most negative sense. And like I said before, Israel does not want to get into a war with Turkey right now. Frankly, Israel doesn't want to get involved in a war with Iran either. I mean, this is outrageous, that Israel has had to face 7 fronts, even without Turkey. With Turkey, it's 8 fronts. So, we're watching everything very
Yeah.
closely. We've had about 60, 70 suicides of Israeli soldiers because of the stress, post-traumatic stress. So now, our army and our psychiatrists and medical institutions are working very hard to get these soldiers out of the trauma. But you can't just, not you, I mean, the Israeli government cannot just snap its fingers and say, okay, let's go to war with Turkey. Okay, let's go to war with Iran. Okay,
No.
And I'm sure that Netanyahu said that to Trump. So we're at this. I think really it's fair to say we are licking our wounds because we
Yeah.
We did
Yeah.
miraculous things with Lebanon and Syria and Gaza and the Houthis in Yemen, but it's definitely not over yet. And the Iranians killed, at this stage, we're hearing between 65 and 80,000 of their own people. Crazy,
It's horrific, isn't it?
crazy,
Just
crazy.
horrific.
This is really a Holocaust for the Iranian people.
Mm. Nobody's saying anything.
And you know what? The Iranian people, on the one hand, they're hiding. They're afraid to be tracked down by the Basiji and the Pasdaran and then killed. Um, but the funerals are now they're getting millions of people out in the street for the funerals. So this may lead to the end of the Iranian regime. Maybe that's what Trump is waiting for.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Why would Israel walk away from Gaza when Gaza is part of what God gave Israel to begin with? And since Israel pulled out when Sharon was prime minister, why nothing good has happened? And yet now Israel has an opportunity to take back what belongs to them. Why would they just hand it over?
Well, we won't just hand it over. What we're doing, firstly, let me tell you the way I see it. Um, there's something called the yellow line. Have you heard of the yellow line? Gaza has the yellow line going through it, and everything to the west of this line, all the way to the Mediterranean, is under the control of Hamas still. 53% is to the east of the yellow line, and that's controlled by the Israeli army. The Israeli army is basically uncovering tunnels and destroying them one after another. This is something that could take years, but the Israeli army is methodically clearing out tunnels. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it's a secret or not, but it was mentioned on the Channel 14 that Israel has moved the yellow line a few times. And so now basically 60% of Gaza is under Israeli control. And I think, of course, everything is in coordination with President Trump. We may go from 60% of Gaza to 65% to 70, 71%, little by little purging the Hamas areas of the tunnels and getting the weapons. So I think it might be that Gaza will not be handed over anytime soon to anybody. It'll be under the control of the Israeli army, and Israel continues clearing out tunnels and collecting weapons and doing things that it has to do. I don't think we're going to hand Gaza over to anybody. I would even venture to say, and this is maybe wishful thinking on my part, that Israel would reestablish all these settlements that 10,000 Israelis were uprooted from by Sharon, reestablish the settlements, and so we're watching to see what happens with those countries like Qatar and Turkey and Egypt that wish to see Gaza taken over by these powers, taken away from Israel. And I have a sneaking suspicion none of that's going to happen. I think Israel's going to keep purging the area of terrorists. And then now that the Rafah border crossing is opening up, it'll start with a trickle and then it'll become a flood. They say up to 50% of the Gaza population is just begging to leave. And so the more Gaza people who leave, the easier it will be to destroy Hamas. We don't want to kill 2 million people. We want to get the terrorists, which are about 50,000.
Did Bibi actually say that within 10 years we don't need the United States help? Thank you very much.
Well, it's not exactly put that way. As you probably know, I'm not talking now about the Democratic Party, I'm talking about the Republican Party, that many of the MAGA stalwarts, isolationists, have become very anti-Semitic. And they are saying that Israel is a drain on the American economy. And Netanyahu sees this. Netanyahu went and said to Trump, listen, 10 years, we will be independent. So go tell all your base, Republican base, that we will not be a drain on the American economy. We will do things on our own, but it's going to take 10 years. Israel's becoming a military power worldwide, and a lot of our needs are now being answered by our own industry. And then what happens is countries like Germany and France and England, they're all buying these products, Israeli-made products, which are battle tested. So it could feasibly be, what we're trying to do is not to be beggars, that the US should not see us as beggars. And not only that Israel could be like an arm of the United States to do the dirty work, to be what they say, a land-based aircraft carrier for the United States, to avoid Americans having to put boots on the ground. Did I
So
answer?
do you foresee where America is as the, I guess, last days or end of days, or what happens um, before Messiah comes again? What do you see the role of America? Because over here, the like the Republicans that are now saying, I don't necessarily feel that we need our investments to Israel is a wise choice. Then we have 3 more years of Trump, and then there's an election, which can go south real easy. What do you see in Israel's role and in our role? I mean, I don't know how to question that, but where are we in this whole battle thing?
By the way, I really beg you all to pray for President Trump's long life, because we're not depending on 3 more years. Our fear is, God forbid, something might happen to Trump. And listen, I don't want to speak badly about J.D. Vance. Personally, I like J.D. Vance. I want you to know I love Catholics. But J.D. Vance, as a Catholic, has maybe a different perspective than the Protestant president. They may be total patriots, but the Catholic Church, the Vatican, is virulently against Israel. So every day that we have President Trump is a miracle. It is a blessing. We have to see in 3 years that Trump is still alive, that he finds the right people, I would say like Marco Rubio, for example, who are on the right side of history. Because anyone who follows orders from the Vatican is going to stab us in the back, inevitably. And I told you, I was supposed to go to the Vatican. I had a heart attack, and so my son went in my place. And the Vatican official I was supposed to meet told me to meet with a vicar in the Catholic Church. And I finally met him, and he got very angry with me. He said, if the purpose of your Judeo-Christian party is to gang up on the Muslims, the Vatican opposes completely, because the Vatican is subservient to the Islamic agenda. So we're not talking about 3 years from now. We're talking about tomorrow. So first I have to say, pray for Trump, pray for Netanyahu, Pray that Netanyahu wins the elections here in September, October, if they are in September, October. Pray for Trump and for the Republicans in the midterms. And then we still have 2 years, 2.5 years until the next presidential election. And who will be the leader of the United States in 2.5 years from now, 3 years from now? So Israel cannot ignore the problem of the MAGA Republicans who are not happy with the aid to Israel. And we're not complaining about anything. It just so happens that we are in the front trenches in this battle. The United States is far away with oceans between them and us. And we have to find a way to make Israel stronger and not dependent on the US. And don't forget what Biden did to us was a slap in the face and made us all open our eyes and realize the dangers, not only of the Democrats, but even Republicans who are turning away from Israel. But a very good question that you asked.
So, with Trump asking for asylum, well, yeah, to bring over the Jews from Europe or Great Britain, why would it be easier over here than to encourage them to go to Israel? Because it's
That's
not any
that,
better.
yeah, that. Go on, go on.
Well, I was just saying, it's just, I don't see it being a safer place here than where they're at now.
Okay, very good question. And it's one of the cardinal principles of my party that there, in the end, there's going to be a Holocaust in America. You have four groups that are going to terminate the Jewish presence in America, God forbid, but that's the way I see it. You have about 30 million Muslims who are, by religion, commanded to kill all the Jews on Saturday and the Christians on Sunday. You have, of course, 30 million militia members, 10% of which are neo-Nazis. So that's another big group of people who want to kill the Jews. You've got the black Muslims in the United States, Black Lives Matter. They want to kill all the Jews. You have the Antifa. They want to kill all the Jews. I call this the perfect storm. And President Trump bringing European Christians, European Jews to America is only a temporary fix. In the end, everyone has to go to Israel or die. That's my opinion. I pray to God I'm wrong. But from what I understand from my experiences on the road and meetings with people, you got 6 million Jews married to 4 million Christians. That's 10 million nuclear Jewish Christian population, 10 million. You got 30 million Muslims, 30 million militia members who will fight to the end against the Bolshevik Democrat Party. And many of the Jews are Bolshevik Democrats. They have to be killed. I mean, that's the way the militia speak. The black Muslims, Black Lives Matter, they have their own agenda against the Jews, funded by the Muslims. Antifa is just a crazy anarchist group. They all want to kill the Jews. Perfect storm. So in the end, even if Trump would bring over, let's say you have 1 million Jews in Europe and Trump brings over 1 million Jews, add that to 6 million Jews, they're all going to have to go to Israel in the end. I praise President Trump for offering to bring over the European Jews to America. America is a much bigger country than Israel. America has much more economic possibilities for immigrants. Israel's a very small country. I always use the example of a family-sized Coca-Cola bottle and a small personal-sized Coca-Cola. When you pour the contents of the family size into the little one, it reaches a stage where there's no more room. No matter how much you pour, it gets spilled out. And so that's the Jews. The Jews will be spilled out once the bottle is full, and they're going to go to America. That is until the borders go according to Bible prophecy. The borders will be from the Nile to the Euphrates and from Lebanon to Saudi. It sounds crazy. I wrote about it in my books, but it seems President Trump agrees with me. I hope you're not frazzled.
No, thank you. That answered perfect.
Yeah. By the way, Messiah, first or second coming, is going to be coming to Jerusalem, and he's not coming only for the Jews. And this is one of the things I have to get onto Israeli TV and say. Messiah is coming for the Jews and the Christians and anyone else who will embrace him. And, there is a joke. I'll quote the New Testament after I tell you the joke, but it's the same quote. I heard this in the Prime Minister's office when I worked there 40 years ago. And Yoram Ettinger, I don't know how many of you know that name. He was consul in Houston. And the joke is that the Prime Minister of Israel gets a telephone call, urgent telephone call from the head of the Mossad. You know what the Mossad is, of course. And he said, "We have very crazy news, Mr. Prime Minister. The Messiah is here now, standing on the Mount of Olives. What should we do with him?" Because there are always these jokes about Jews and Christians when the Messiah shows up first or second time. And the Prime Minister says, "Let me call you back in 5 minutes." So the Prime Minister of Israel calls up Ben Gurion Airport and says to the head of the passport department at the airport, dress up like you're supposed to, drive up to the Mount of Olives, go up to the Messiah and say, "Excuse me, sir, is this your first visit to the Holy Land?" So the funny joke is, like turning something like, is it the first coming or the second coming into a joke? But in the New Testament, I think it's in the book of John, it says that Jesus appeared before his disciples in the Galilee, and they didn't recognize him. And he said, "Look at my hands, look at my feet, and you'll know that it's me." So, I'm saying, I hope that all of you and I will be here at the foot of the Mount of Olives, and that when the Messiah shows up, we'll go up to him and say, "Excuse me," the Jews will say, "Is this your first visit or the second?" And the Christians will say, "Let us see the holes in your hands and feet." Same thing. I know you're all muted, so I don't hear anyone laughing. I don't know if anyone thought it was funny. Go on, Laurie.
So are the books printed yet? Are your new books printed yet, or?
Listen, I don't know what's going on. I finished writing. I sent it all to Aaron. Aaron has a very close friend who's doing the graphic artist work. I think I sent you the copies of the artist work. His name is Daniel Wright, and he is in Valhalla, South Carolina. And he's going over everything, and then he's sending it to the printer in Dallas. Then supposedly it'll take the printer in Dallas a few weeks. And that's one of the reasons why Aaron said to me, "Don't go to Dallas yet until the books are printed." So from what I understand, it'll take a few more weeks. I personally think nothing will move until I get to the States, go to the printer, and sit with the printer and make sure everything is right. And then it's a question of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get the books printed. So I'm going to dedicate this trip to getting those books physically available for everyone. But I did my job. I handed it over to Aaron. Aaron is handing everything over to Daniel Wright. And Daniel Wright is sending everything to the printer in Dallas.
Does the printer services include producing digital copies for people to read digitally?
I imagine so. Daniel Wright and Aaron have a program. They have a plan to. I don't know if you heard of this. Something called Logos, and it is for pastors, and it is a online book. I'll make like $1 a book instead of 20. But if you have 1 million, 2 million pastors who buy it, so I'm okay financially. The amount of books that I'm going to be printing and selling in the churches will be probably about 1,000 copies and 1,000 copies, unless we get funds to give the printer to print up 10,000 and 10,000. Then a lot of books will be stored away as usual in the colony near Dallas and in Tulsa. So all I know, I did my job. The books are printed, they're being reviewed, and they're getting prepared for print shop. I hope I didn't disappoint anyone.
It'll happen when it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's all in God's hands.
So it seems that that Israel's economy is like fantastic right now. Is that
Absolutely correct. I have to tell you something. When we were attacked on October 7, 2023, there are very clear indications that there was treason. And part of the treason was to sabotage the economy of Israel. And so a lot of these high-tech, what do you call it? These high-tech leftist nerds took their money out and sent it to America. And then they lost $100 million in America. And so they brought the money back to Israel. Now they are restoring their losses. So a lot of people were trying to harm Israel in order to harm Netanyahu, Israeli Jews. And to this day, we are still getting in the news, breaking news about the treason that was committed by the socialists, by the deep state against Israel, against Netanyahu. So, I mean, I wish I could run with Netanyahu's Likud party. I was Likud all my life. But my point is, if Netanyahu doesn't want any Christians or any Messianics because they all have the cooties. I mean, you are Americans, most of you, so you know what the cooties are. And, so if I love Netanyahu, I respect him. If he doesn't want Christians in the Likud party, so we'll create a new party of Jews, Christians, and Druze who will have God's best plans, best interests for the people of Israel. It's simply unacceptable that Christians are not represented in the Knesset. And I'm going to take a lot of persecution for it. I don't care. I mean, I do care, but you have to remember, half the Israeli population comes from former Soviet socialist countries, and half the population comes from Islamic countries. None of these Jewish people have any clue about the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants in America. And by the way, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants includes Black people and Chinese and Koreans and people from India and others who are now Protestant. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant, the emphasis is on the word Protestant. But here in Israel, Israeli people don't go to Protestant churches in America. Like I've been in 1,000 churches, so like I'm totally at home. There's no exposure about the American Christians here in Israel. That's part of the plan of my party, an educational plan to get Israelis educated.
Are those deep state people still in place in
Absolutely.
positions of power and running things?
Absolutely. You cannot touch them. But I think Netanyahu has something up his sleeve for when we have our elections, God willing, in a few months. I don't know if it's April or June or September, sometime this year. All these facts are going to come out about the treason of the deep state people in the judiciary, in the police, in the military, in the civil service. And again, don't forget, I was fired from the Prime Minister's office in 1990. They said, "We know your political views, you're fired, and we will make sure to it you never, ever again have a job in Israel." And they were right until now. My job, quote unquote, is working for God in Christian countries. And here in Israel, writing books and getting them out, printed out in America. Everything is in God's hands. The only job I can get in Israel is getting elected to the Knesset if I get the votes. And if God takes me, someone else will get into the Knesset with the same ideology. Meanwhile, I'll be here enjoying life, doing Zooms with you guys.
Thank God.
Is that a good note to end it on this week?
God willing, God willing. I still don't know if I'm coming next week or not. This is becoming like a broken record. But I have a feeling, according to President Trump, the attack will have to be fast, very effective, and over in 3 days, something like that. So if the attack happens in the immediate future, and let's say in a week it's over, I'll get on the next plane and come. I just want to make sure that no missiles are falling near my house. I have to be with Rachel. What can I do? If I don't protect her, she'll kill me. She might kill